everybody, and welcome back to the 87 Mazda RX-7 Turbo 2 restoration. So we're starting off with some WD-40 on some of the suspension parts that I couldn't reach on my own. And there's all this horrible water pump. You see there's rust just insane compared to everyone else. The alternator is definitely going to have to be replaced. That crack is pretty bad. But the engine was still cranking and turning with the belts when they were on. So this is just a picture with everything off. And now these are the items that had to come off in order to get to the belts. The clutch fan, which just took 4 bolts and a lot of PB blaster to take off. This is the intake air box and the mass airflow sensor. Pretty decent. Looks like it's had better days though. Could probably give it a good cleaning. The fan shroud looks awful here, right? But upon inspection, there's no cracks or anything missing that I could see there. So I just think it needs a real good cleaning. So I can't wait to just give this a good cleaning and then show what happens. Here's the eccentric shaft pulley. I kind of made that little clip just for myself to remember the exact order they go in. Before you put the pulleys, a small metal spacer actually goes in there. And so these are all the bolts and nuts that I got out and washers. And here they are before their bath of soapy water with some degreaser in it. I use just cheap degreaser. LA's awesome that you can find at Dollar Tree. I like that stuff. It's pretty solid, pretty easy to use, and just gotta wait. And so I figured I don't know, I'll probably wait a couple hours. Once I put the pulleys in, and I started noticing what was happening to the water. The longer the pulley were in there, I just decided, you know what, let me just leave it there for like 8 hours and see what happens. You can check out the sounds here. Just degreaser and soap and water, okay? So after that, that's what I used. LA's awesome. So after 8 hours of leaving it in there, no agitation, here's how everything came out. This is that metal spacer that goes in on before you put in the 3 eccentric pulley shaft pulley pieces. And so it's pretty cool how they came out. I thought maybe they would have been a little better, but most of the grime and dirt was all loosened, so it was good enough, honestly, before the apple cider vinegar bath to remove the rust. So what I learned was rust removers are not good degreasers, and degreasers are not good rust removers, at least for the most part. So I figured I would do a soap, water, and degreaser bath first to kind of loosen things up, get any of the grime and dirt off, and then hopefully be left with mostly just the rust, which the rust is very well still present. So after this, I decided to go to the apple cider vinegar bath. And I originally intended to do this for 24 hours, but time just kind of kept creeping, and it ended up being 36 hours. If you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button right there below. So now it's been 36 hours, and we can start taking everything out. So I got this really neat little magnetic tool. I was literally pulling these things by hand. It was awful. So you see me here in a much more civilized form. So once I get my ugly mug there, you can see what the bolts came out and looked like. I was very pleased with what the apple cider vinegar bath did, and those were the eccentric shaft pulley bolts. Like, they came out amazing. They could use a little wire brush cleaning, I figured, but honestly, just in and of itself, no agitation, no scrubbing, everything came out pretty nice. I was actually really surprised. Small obvious tip: if you're doing a vinegar, if you're working with vinegar, close the container. I left it open and it smelled awful. It was horrible. I will definitely know that for the next one. But I was so excited just to get this done. I just went to Dollar Tree and got a couple, easy containers and some plastic cups to just separate things in. You can tell, So you see here the driver bolts. That's what really needed the most work, and that's kind of what got me to thinking that I'll probably use the wire brush on these. And boy, did the wire brush really help. I started with the washers first, just to kind of bring back some of the shine and see if I could take out some of the surface rust. And it took out all of that, all of the grime that's maybe been building up there over 26 years. Since these are all coolant related hardware, I wanted to make sure that they went in nice and clean. I've heard a bunch of little horror stories on the forums there, so just takes a couple minutes, and I had a couple days. Meanwhile, the Koyo radiator and the water pump and all the gaskets and all of that came in from Atkins Rotary and Lucky 7 Racing. So meanwhile, I had some time, and I just got to cleaning, and I was pretty surprised with the results. And so I just kind of kept going. You can listen here. Also, do yourself a favor. Wear a mask. It's obvious, it goes without saying, but use eye protection. You don't want none of this, none of these little bits and, materials matter to get into your eyes or into your lungs, especially if you're going to be doing this quite a bit. Just wear a quick mask, some eye goggles real quick, and then go from there. I started seeing how much dust came out. I immediately went to go grab one. So here, these are the driver seat bolts. These are these are the ugliest ones. So these were the ones I was excited to really try to get as much of that rust out. And honestly, I was actually pretty pleased with how most of it came out. I could probably get new bolts for some of these, but as RX-7s are just getting tougher to find, it's not as easy anymore. So I'm just trying to make do with what I got and pretty much breathe in some life into any original parts I have that can be reused, and then just keep scavenging the market. I hear right now people are mostly RX-7 owners are really hoarding their parts because they know these things have gotten really rare. They're getting tougher to find. I've gone to junkyards and I haven't seen an RX-7 in junkyards for a while now. Granted, I wasn't really going right after, right during the pandemic. Once they had the junkyards open, had COVID protocols and whatnot. Maybe I really wasn't checking there, but I've been checking for a minute. And based on other posts I've seen on RX7club.com and just on other RX-7 forums, it seems people are not having a lot of luck finding RX-7s in junkyards anymore. Leads me to believe people are probably just buying the shells off these junkyards just like that and just taking them. And the ones that weren't bought were probably crushed. So, take care of your RX-7, man. Get up in there. Don't do what I did. Don't let it rot for 7 years and then, have to come back and see what's going on. And this is that the car actually already sat before that, 19 years pretty much. I found out the last time it was registered was 1996. So, it's been quite a bit of time. So during all of this, I could have easily had the car up and running in these 7 years. I wouldn't have had to have dealt with this horrible RX-7, market that we're in, where it's just tough to find parts. It was easier when I got the car in 2015, but it's too late, So we got to move forward and see what we got. So now we move to the present, and we can take joy in stuff like this. Like, look at these bolts. Came out so clean. I was so amazed with how even the passenger bolts came out. Look at the pulleys. The water pump pulley came out great. All that oil deposit that hides in there just builds up. You'd be surprised how much was in there. I got tons of shop towels that I went through, like a good half roll in just cleaning these out. But look, they came out wonderful. Check out the comparisons. They just do not lie. Just so good. I would recommend doing a soapy water bath, and then apple cider vinegar, and then go to town with it with the wire brush. So if you've enjoyed this, thank you so much for watching. Next one's coming.